Oh, okay. Um, so it just says see you at noon Eastern. Is that you?
Yep.
Did you put that up? Oh, okay.
Oh, I'll pause it. Okay, so sorry guys, we are just testing some things out and something broke, but everything should be back now. You should hear both me and Chris. So one of the things that would be great to help us out with is balancing, sound balancing. Tell us if one is quieter than the other, one is louder than the other. Things like that would be great. And again, apologize for the breaking. We're trying just something new here. So first of all, I'd like to introduce you guys. Probably haven't really heard from Chris. Chris is new to trade ideas, although I'm sure some of you have come across him in the room sometimes. So why don't you just take a second and introduce yourself, Chris, and we'll use that to test the sound balancing.
Sure. How's it going, guys? Chris here. Yeah, as Michael said, this is the first time I'm getting on the live stream with everyone. Some of you guys may know me from the trading room. I wasn't big in the YouTube feed, but I've been in the trading room for a number of years, and I got absorbed into the community, and now I'm a happy member of the team. So happy to meet you guys.
Awesome, awesome. How long have you been trading? How long have you been using trade ideas before you got hired here?
Sure. So, I got casually involved with trading probably about, oh, geez, I guess probably about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, maybe, just after high school. And then, I started getting a little bit more serious when I went back to college the second time, maybe about 8 years ago as a broke student. I was looking for a way to make some money. Shortly after that, now we're talking about like 4 or 5 years ago, I found trade ideas really helped to kind of revolutionize my trading as I was trying to find money in the market every single day. I really found it as the only way to do that. So I've been with TI for about 4 or 5 years now. Been on the team now for just a couple of months, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been my, before joining TI, trading's been my full-time income for about 3 or 4 years now.
Awesome. So, hey, Mike C. Mike C is always in the room, always very supportive. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit, so I hope everything's doing well. So, again, just if anyone is new for what's going on here, I know something got kind of a little messed up there, but is coming back now. So we like to give Barry a much needed lunch, a little time off to hang out, and then we open up the room for questions. So ask away, right? And any questions that you have about trading, about trade ideas, about either of us, just a conversation, kind of shooting the shit. And the best part is the more you guys ask questions, the less you'll hear us kind of waffle on about the market and trades we made and that type of thing. So Chris, one of the things that Chris is coming on to, one, you'll be able to see him in support. He is one of our traders that is helping out now with support. So if you ever see him in the support chat, say hi. And then another thing is helping us build out some of the cool things that we're going to do when it comes to adding indicators and pre-built scans with a little bit more functionality, but better for you guys, much more simplicity. So you won't be wondering what it is to trade and trying to figure out how to build these things yourselves. We're going to build some canned type of things for you with some pretty good power. And Chris is going to be helping me do that. So really, while there's no questions and while people filter in, I guess, what have you been trading today, Chris? What's been working?
Well, let's see. I actually just accidentally closed my trade idea, so I'm bringing that back up right now. That's always fun. So what did I trade today? I have a bot set up through Brokerage Plus right now that is trading one of my strategies that is basically, it's all short-term intraday stuff. So I've had about, let's see here, had about like 12 trades or so today. so some of the better ones I picked up, I caught one on NIO, right at the open today, right on that initial drop. I caught a nice thing right towards the bottom and rode that wave back up to the 15.8. That was probably my best trade of the day. Unfortunately, I got caught up in whatever news is going on with Discovery, DISCA and DISCK. Got caught in both of those right before it halted. Luckily, got out before the halt.
Yeah.
So little red on the day right now. We'll call it pink.
So NIO, was that a pre-market bounce that you were looking at, or was there some other logic behind that?
Yeah, so it's not really based on pre-market. It's really more like a standard deviation, average true range kind of custom formula that I put together, that I'm still testing out just for kind of too far too fast type moves.
Okay, cool. And I just remembered that you can't see what I'm looking at, so I'm just going to share my screen with you here, and then if you ever have anything to share, I can bring you into that as well. So just for your reference, Chris, the stream can see everything just up to this point, so they can't see that. Just so
Gotcha.
you can see the same thing that they're seeing there. So yeah, NIO, and the reason I bring up this pre-market strategy is one of the ones that I've been running for a while. Is if we look up, I'm going to see if I can actually run this in the background and then bring it in. Something that I've been trading for a while, and it's actually been working out really well, is pre-market things that look like they're going to break pre-market. So stocks that are like this, that they open lower but above pre-market range, they sell off in the opening, and there seems to be some validity in buying either a break and then a pullback, or just a bounce of the pre-market range. And I'll bring this in here. Yeah, this is the strategy that I'm running with that. Not the best. You can see some sideways action going on here, but all in all, it's been pretty good. So my theory, and I'll ask your theory about why this works later, but my theory is that a break of pre-market lows and a break of pre-market high on gappers is one of the first things that people teach you as a very simple trading strategy, and it is. But I find that the more quote-unquote simple that trading strategy is, the better. And let's actually just test this just to get some action. This is a simulated account here, so I'm just going to buy some NEO here and see if I'm going to be right. Again, the theory just being is if you get a little poke or a touch of pre-market lows and then any kind of bullish action off of that, seems to have some continuation. Again, I think the theory is you get people trying to short into that resistance, and when it doesn't work out well for them, they flip.
Okay. Also, I'm just seeing Iris. I see your comment in there asking about the formula. It's something that I would be willing to share in the future. The reason I don't feel very comfortable sharing it right now is because at the moment, this alert scan that I'm doing this with, it's picking up stocks that are falling very, very sharply. And at the moment, just until I get it more refined, I don't really feel comfortable giving it out to the public. Because it's very easy to get into some hot water with this stuff.
Well, and that's that's perfectly valid. And one thing I would suggest, Iris, is take a look here at what I got up on the screen here. If you're looking to build something like this yourself, is take a look at this filter right here, which I think is underutilized but pretty powerful, where it's change from the open as percentage of average true range. So what it's doing is it's saying, okay, if a stock normally moves $1 a day, and for example, you put 200 in the minimum of this filter, what you're going to get is you're going to get stocks that have already moved over double what their ATR is from the opening print onward. So it ignores gaps, which is interesting. I have some revision to the mean type scans that I use and work that I use that as well. So that might be a good place to to get going, in which it's going to tell you things that are outside of what the normal is. So if you use 200%, it's going to be double. If you use 300%, it's going to be triple, and so on and so forth. And I see Mike C talking about TME, and I'm actually going to talk about some trading that I've done on TME and some.
I also had some stuff on TME today too.
Oh, cool. So let's go actually bring up the chart first. So yeah, we've been talking in kind of our trader chat here about some of this stuff as well. And Holly's got a great trade going on this one right now. But a lot of what I've been doing is playing with these anchored VWAP. So one day, and then I go back into yesterday and I draw a 2-day VWAP. And let's bring this into a 1 minute chart. I don't recommend spending too much time looking or trading 1 minute charts, but there's definitely some power to be had here about these multi-day VWAPs. So I took a short here in the morning right here when we had this kind of tweezer top at the 2-day VWAP, and then covered at VWAP. I ignored here because I didn't see any kind of bearish action to get me in, but if we look, and I'll zoom in a little more just to make it a little easier. Ooh, too much. Come on. There we go. And then I had this little inside bar that happened here. So I shorted off that inside bar. Again, really, really tight risk. Covered some into the 1-day VWAP, and then I got out the rest on this bounce. But then as it consolidated again, I shorted this here again. So basically just without following the exact trades, there seems to be some power to this 2-day VWAP and playing kind of bounces and revisions off it. And I've had a few really good examples of that over the last few days, in which just if you found a stock that was in play and drew out this 2-day VWAP, you get some pretty good areas of support and resistance.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about that earlier, and that it really seems like there's so much validity to the idea. If you bring in the idea of people that may have gotten into the name yesterday, and maybe they're kind of bag holding at the moment, and that's really where that 2-day VWAP's going to really kind of come into play.
Well, yeah, and that's the theory I think behind it, and that's why I'm only looking at these on high relative volume names and second day plays. So second day play is essentially just looking at something that had a major move yesterday. For example, GameStop, which we've all been watching because of course we have. Let's actually
haven't heard of that one.
Yeah. Let's make this a 15-minute chart so I can draw it out. So one of the things that we're looking to do is actually to add this as an auto-drawn feature, this 2-day VWAP, so that you can just kind of select it, because you can already scan for it. We just need to make sure it's available as a chart. So you can draw this in, right? And it hasn't reached it yet, but this is kind of what I'm doing when I'm playing with these. I say, okay, what moved large yesterday or has some good relative volume going into today? And then really noticing that these are the ones that are important. And I think it's for the reason that you point out, Chris, in which there's bag holders. So if you can find where those people are going to be, on average, breaking even on their trade. We've all been in those trades that they've worked or they haven't worked, and we just said, oh geez, if we just get to break even, I'm out. And that's not the way to trade at all, right? Because if it gets to break even, that means it's probably finally moving in your favor, and you should have. That's probably the area that you should hold, but I think that's what's happening on mass, and I think there's definitely some power on here. So if that's something that you're playing with, it's a good thing to take a look at if you're playing these second day plays. Is sometimes I've noticed that a stock on a second day play may stop where I don't, where I'm like, well, why did it just stop and reverse right there? And then I draw the 2-day VWAP, and away you go. I'm just going to take a second. Yeah. So what you should put, again, my answer to most of these, but you should put whatever percentage of ATR is based off your written trading plan. And if you don't yet have a written trading plan, uh, you know, stop and do that first. And that's the kind of the one recommend. I mentor traders one on one, and have for many many years, and that's the difference between winning and losing traders. I noticed there's two differences. And one is winning traders have a trading plan and follow it, and then losing traders either don't have a trading plan or don't follow it. And those are the two things. So, if you're talking about
That,
what's going to be unusual, is anything over 100% is going to be unusual. Now, again, how unusual is going to be dependent on your trading plan.
sure. Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of reiterate that point, I mentioned that earlier I took some losses in DISCA and DISCK, and I mean those could have been absolute blowout losses for me if I didn't have a hard stop in place. Those are things that maybe I ended up losing around, I don't know what it exactly was, maybe around like 60, 70 cents a share. But the full downward move was more like $6. So it really just kind of reiterates the importance of having the plan, having your stop in place, and not arguing with it. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out, and the name of the game is living to trade another day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's, again, it's I've mentored probably hundreds of traders, and I've talked to thousands of traders, and talked to many traders that I'd consider way better than me. And that's the one thing that I've noticed is the difference is it, are you do you have a plan? That's obviously step one. And then step two is, do you follow it, right? And I have never heard a trading horror story of, I had a plan. I worked very hard to carefully, curate my plan and come up with a good risk reward strategy, and then I followed it religiously and I blew up my account. I've never heard that. It's always been I went in too early and I was shooting from the hip and some bad things happen, or I had a plan and I just completely ignored it and some bad things
Yeah,
happen. It's never the
yeah, and
thousand
there's
cuts.
always some involved, right? You see something running without you, and it's outside of your plan, and you're just like, well, the way this thing's moving, it's got to keep going. And then, by the time you buy, you just happen to buy the absolute top tick of the day, and you're just immediately red from there. So, it's so important to be mechanical about these things.
Oh, 100%. Just two questions quick. So what's the 2-day VWAP? So currently it's not in the system, but we're working to change and add that now. So what I'm doing for now is I'm just using the anchored VWAP button, which is just this little anchor up here on the top of your chart. And you can then click on any candle you want to anchor it. So I've set up a bunch of thumbnail start charts, and I've just anchored them at the beginning of the day and then watch them go. But you can not only anchor to that, but it was interesting you were bringing up DISCA. So just for fun, I anchored a VWAP at kind of the lowest low in the last year or so, and to the tick of the bottom of that thing is where that's come from. So there's day trading power here, there's swing trading power here, and I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Brian Shannon at Alpha Trends, who's a friend of mine. I had him sign my book that I got. I went full fanboy there, but I've been following him for many many years, and he's done some work with us in the past. He's done some great webinars. We brought him in for keynote speak and all that. He's a great trader, and he's kind of, if not invented, he's popularized the anchored VWAP. So there's really no scan involved in it. But what I'm doing is I'm just scanning for stocks that are, again, either moving today or moving yesterday. So however you want to do that, you could grab the gappers or high volume or wide range. However you want to define that is going to be different depending. And then after that, it's just drawing. And that's where the question always is, okay, well, then where do I anchor the VWAP? And the response that I've always had Brian give is that this is the art of the art and science point. But you want to find outliers, right? You want to find stocks that or areas that are the highest high in a period, or the lowest low, or a big gap, or a high volume node, or something like that. So, Revlon, for example, I've been watching this thing forever for a breakout here, and it's just been a choppy, it's a little low volume too, so be careful with that. But you can see when I draw an anchored VWAP from this candle's high right here, that it lines up with this high, almost lines up with this high, but close enough. So then this is now the area that I'm watching. I'm watching this anchored VWAP and saying, if this breaks, then all of a sudden I think this should pop out there. And Thomas is just asking, but the 2-day VWAP is anchored to the start of the previous day. Yeah. So we call it VWAP 2 in the system. So if you're going to play with and build a scan for that custom I sent you this morning, Chris, just didn't work. So I need to, I need to figure out why that is. But yeah, so we call it.
Chance to actually try it.
Yeah, I need to go back and look at it again. But yeah, so we call this VWAP 2. So if you wanted to look for things that were close to it, you could use this scan here. But what I'm doing more for, let's go in. What I'm doing more for just the strategy that I'm playing with is just going to the first candle of the prior day and just clicking the anchored button and popping that on there, ignoring pre-market for that first bit, but then it includes pre-market throughout, which is kind of important. I can give you the cloud link for my layout, but nothing is going to work for you, unfortunately. This one here is built off of a symbol list, and this is built off custom formulas. So all you'll get is a couple charts and then Holly. So if you want it, let me know. But it's just part of the problem with these things. Other than that,
now, just a question I actually have about that anchored VWAP, just because I've only started exploring it a bit myself recently. You said you would usually keep out pre-market. Do you ever include pre-market if it's like a very high volume pre-market day?
I include pre-market for the chart, but what I do is I anchor the opening of this prior day without pre-market. So I basically anchor, if I was doing it on the SPY, I would anchor it here and just not here in the morning, basically. But then I include VWAP, so it is, or I include pre-market, so it is calculating off. And that's for the reason that you would think, in which I'm looking at high volume plays and big gappers and stuff. So it's important that I include that, because they kind of they figure that out from there. So question about what we include for education. So we've got tons and tons of education. I'll put some links down here for you on how to build any scan that you want. We have one that I build that's a shameless self-plug, but every time I'm up here, I shamelessly self-plug, in which I sat down with my wife during quarantine, and we went through this free 36 episode course brought to you by Trade Ideas on how we use the system, on teaching her technical analysis and statistics and fundamentals and all of that. So that's good. And then on top of that, you guys probably just saw a video that I'm editing. That's fine. On top of that, we have some support links I'll give you here. So we have our Trade Ideas University. So this is taught by our traders, that has 4 hour-long or so courses. They start off, very basic, talking about the different window types, talking about the different filters and how to add them and play with them and all of that. And then it goes all the way to, auto trading and brokerage plus and all of that. But it's broken into 4 lessons, which I think is great. So you can watch one, and then if you have any questions, every day at noon Eastern, somebody's on here, right? Today it was going to be Andy, but he's just got a dentist appointment. So I came on and brought Chris on, because we're going to experiment with more streaming with multiple people and that type of thing. But every single day there's a different person. So if you pop on one day and it's me and you don't like hearing me talk, then just come back tomorrow. But the beauty of it is that you can then just watch those videos at your own pace. and write down your questions, come in and ask them live. Barry will, of course, uh, be pumped to help you out, but he's also trading and running the trading room all the time. So you can wait for this time. And then if all of that fails, you can come into our support chat and ask some questions there. And you can go and book a one-on-one if you want. We have one-on-ones where you can pay for just an hour where you'll just sit down with a trader and he'll kind of help all of that out. So,
We also have the afternoon webinars as well,
oh
the late
yes,
afternoon web. Yeah.
and they will, thankfully enough, be coming to YouTube as well very soon. So soon, this one link that you guys are on right now, you'll get all of our content right here. So does Trade Ideas go over a course on how to build a swing trading strategy? So the first link that I gave, oh no, sorry, I already answered that one. So what factors would Trade Ideas layout and design of effective swing trading strategy? Well, that's what, so that first link that I gave you there, Raptor, that's going to be probably your best one, because that basically, we're not going to tell you how to trade, right? A, we can't. That's, legal and regulatory and all that kind of stuff. And B, I always use the analogy with trading as diet, right? I could tell you the best diet in the world just to get jacked, right? You could eat cardboard and an acorn and some meat every day, and you'll be great. But if you're not going to follow that, then it doesn't matter. So it's very important that when you're learning to trade and you're building a strategy, that you build it yourself. So what I've done with this trading course that I did with my wife Jess is I taught her everything when it came to the basics of trading, and then at the very end, so if you've already, you're going through the course and you think it's a little bit basic for you, at the very end I talk about how to build a trading plan and what to put in a trading plan and things like that, because we give you the shovel, and then it's your job to go dig for the gold. So if you've got an idea of a swing trading strategy that you're interested in, we can certainly help you out with that. We can't tell you how to trade.
And just to edge what you're saying, I actually I watched your course that you did with your wife before I even joined up with TI. I was just following you on YouTube, and I saw you started doing that.
Oh, awesome.
And even though I had been trading for a number of years, I still found a lot of value in listening to you go through all of that with her. So I would really suggest it to just everybody here, not just the new people that aren't sure, because there's definitely some gems to be found in there.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a good idea. It was one of those where everyone got quarantined, and Jess is in healthcare, so she was she's in dental hygiene, right? So not the healthcare that you would be on the front lines, but the one that you're told to go home. There's nothing you can do, and we're like, she could never explain to someone what I did when they asked, what does your husband do? She's like, I don't know. So we said, well, screw it. Why not? We'll sit down and have her trade. And so far she likes it. She's a bit busy right now and doesn't have too much of a chance to do what she needs to do, but she still dabbles away with the paper trading account that we have, which again is another massive benefit, I think, of Trade Ideas, where we have, you can play, right? And I still use it today. I've been trading for 15 years now, but when it comes to testing a new strategy, that's where I go first. That, or as been joking around with Chris with testing E-Trade with Dan's money. I'm testing all my new strategies with Dan's money. Well,
always a lot less pressure when it's not yours.
Yeah. Well, unless if you guys don't see me in the webinars for a couple of weeks, I probably, one of my strategies went bad, and Dan just told me to get the hell out, but we'll see with that. So Damien asked, what's coming soon to Trade Ideas? Well, soon there's going to be a brand new product launch, and I can talk about this because we've done all the back end work. It's now just in the hands of our website designer to get it up on the website and do all that. But what we've done And while I talk about it, I can actually bring up the stats here. What I've done is I've used a system that we're building in the back end that's going to have some really cool things that we can do. It's not going to be anything that you guys see, but you're going to see the output of, where we can kind of get really into the weeds when it comes to programming and developing different strategies and algos. So I built something that I've back tested now for 4 years and have forward tested for about a year. And it's basically looking at a very simple kind of relative strength type strategy. And here is the breakdown of the performance over the last 3 years, with the blue line being the TI strength index, we're calling it, and the red being the SPY. And you can see, again, the differences in performances of these. So we're going to have a new service where essentially you're going to sign up and you're just going to be emailed every Monday what the top 5 ranked stocks on these securities are. And then you can, take that and trade with them as you want. It'll have a little chart and a write-up and a description, similar to the trade of the week, but just a paid-for model with this. So that would be one of the main things. And don't worry, to existing subscribers, what we're going to do for you guys is we're going to build a channel. So you're going to see a new channel on the channel bar called TI Strength, and that's going to give you those same symbols, and you can build scans based off it and back test and auto trade and all of those things that you like to do. So when it's what's coming soon, that's a big one. There's another one in the works that I won't talk too much about, but we do like to tease things a little bit around here, in which